things are really, really messy right now. I think that you guys know I'm a pretty big Steven Crowder fan. And I'm not ashamed of saying that either. Like, I want you guys to know where it is I stand and, who I follow and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm a Steven Crowder fan, have been for a long time. And this is not the first time that somebody has brought something out to accuse him. If you remember, not too long ago, there were claims coming out from his ex-wife about him abusing her. There were claims from Dave Landau that he was creating a toxic work environment and targeted him. There were claims from, I'm trying to remember back. There was a claim from Gavin McInnes after the Daily Wire, fallout thing. You can look that up and catch up if you haven't learned that. Gavin McInnes saying that he created a toxic work environment and stuff like that. And then there was, and then before that was Owen Benjamin. Owen Benjamin said that Steven created a toxic work environment, went on all this stuff. Okay. So all of these things he's been saying, that allegations have been coming out for a while. And as a longtime, fan of the show, it's very possible that it's true. I think it's very obvious to see that he has some sort of a temper problem. While it may not come as a, actual physical violence, I think that it's very possible for him to show toxic traits in an aggressive manner. I think that's well within the possibility of his personality and his character, okay? That being said, what do we know about the situations at hand? Okay, well, let's talk about them in chronological order. So far, we got Owen Benjamin. Owen Benjamin claimed that Crowder was being weird and abusive and toxic. Come to find out, as more information comes out, and as Owen did his thing on Twitter, that Owen was the one being very toxic. He burned all of the bridges, not just with Crowder and his team, but with other people as well. And he just kind of fell off the radar. I think he's now doing. I think somebody said that the last thing he was doing was flat Earth vids. It was just weird. He did some weird conspiracy theory stuff. He was just angry all the time. So he really lost his mind. And nobody could really figure out exactly what happened. Gavin McInnes was claiming that Crowder was being mean and weird and toxic, and he was being mean and weird and toxic to him and didn't help at all during his time trying to fight for free speech, except that I remember very specifically that he did. He covered many times all of those instances in which Gavin was being unfairly targeted. He gave him a platform and said, hey, look, come on our show and talk, okay? All right, they're not going to allow your YouTube channel. They're going to take down your videos. Great, come on our show, because we're still on YouTube. We're still on the internet. You can check out our show and get your voice out there, okay? And not only that, he expressly said on at least 5 occasions, maybe more, Gavin, you have an open door to come work at our company whenever you want. That door is permanently open for you. I remember him saying that clear as day, because I was thinking, why? I don't find him funny, and I don't want him to be permanent. I mean, do what you want. I'll still watch, but I don't like Gavin. Gavin's not funny to me. So I remember that. All right. Next up, I'm trying to make sure I remember everything I said. Not too long ago, we found out about Steven Crowder's marriage ending, and his wife claimed that she was being abused by him, except that then we had some files that got released for a short period of time that showed that wasn't true. That the watch it moments, the I'll F you up moments, were a short 18-second clip of a significantly longer conversation, all of which has since been deleted by her against the court's orders. And then in those files that were up on Twitter, I think it was X at the time, for a very short period of time, had a transcript from a therapy session, I think it was a marriage counseling session with both of them and the therapist. And she offered, he didn't pressure, he didn't say anything really. She offered that was the only time that she's ever felt scared or threatened around him. and that he was immediately apologetic. Her very words in that session contradicted exactly what she was saying. So we found out she was being bogus with that, and now we've got Jared. So what Jared is basically saying, if you watch his video, he's basically saying, I have these eternal NDAs that are preventing me from being able to speak and use my freedom of speech. They're preventing me from being able to work. I can't even feed my family. I've got mounting legal debt, and which sounds bad. And for a while, I mean, even fans of the show who love the show and still love the show have been saying, can we just release him from the NDA so that this all ends? We're starting to see now that it's not going to end, because now we have evidence that this goes beyond just his employment and his NDA. So if you go to Louder with Crowder's Rumble or YouTube pages, I recommend you go to Rumble always anyways. But if you go to those pages and you watch the video that Gerald Morgan put together, it's very interesting that this video got released after, I believe it was after Crowder had made his episode for the day. And the very next day was going to be mediation between himself and his ex-wife, which means he wasn't going to be available for the show anyways, which means Gerald was going to be filling in for the show anyways. And then that's when Jared releases this video. Gerald shows a bunch of things that I'm pretty sure at this point that Crowder's ex-wife and Jared didn't realize that they had, which was like a bunch of text messages, emails, and other things showing that Jared and Crowder's ex-wife were in constant communication, making a concerted effort to not just get more money, but to make a concerted effort to shatter his online platform. Okay, the stuff's bad. Okay, the stuff that they're showing is bad. There's one, because she releases Crowder's address where her kids were staying when they were going to see their father. She sends that out to Jared, and then shortly after she sends that to Jared, Crowder starts getting threatening messages. One in particular that I believe was written on what we assume is a sweet potato. So now the place where he spends time with his kids is not safe. All right? The place where he spends time with his kid is not safe because the dude gets death threats all the time. Some of them credible death threats. So you've just revealed the location where your kids stay when they're with their father, which means in order to keep the kids safe, he can't have them there anymore. You're starting to see where this is going. Oh, and also she tried to take the dog. Not that she wanted the dog or that the dog would have been better with her. She tried to have the dog removed, period, claiming that the dog was a dangerous animal. Now, not only is there no evidence of this dog being dangerous, not only does the dog come to the office daily and make friends with everyone, where even former employees who hate Crowder say that they love the dog, she tried to claim that the previous owner of the dog said that the dog was a dangerous animal. Crowder, knowing better at this point, he contacts his previous owner, says what's going on, and the previous owner offers to sign an affidavit saying that the dog is not dangerous. She's now gone out of her way to take away his safety with his children, his money from work, and to take away the dog. And one other thing, for the people who are saying that she was left in like poverty and whatnot, number one, the agreement that they have right now is that while the divorce is taking place, he is going to pay from the estate. He's going to pay her $25,000 a month, $300,000 a year. Oh, but that's got to pay for lawyers. That's not going to cover all the lawyers that she needs for all this stuff, except that the Crowder estate, which he was the only one contributing to for forever, is paying for that. Which means that the $25,000 that she's getting is not going towards lawyers, unless there's got to be another missing picture. What's that? Oh, yeah, that's right. In some of the stuff that they uncovered with the communications between Jared and the ex-wife, she's writing a book. What's the most popular Steven Crowder segment? Change My Mind. What's the name of alleged book that she's writing? He Changed My Mind. So she's capitalizing off of his success using the name of his most popular segment in order to sell the book, which is also why she's keeping his last name, because people probably aren't going to pick up on her name very well, but they can find Hillary. Yeah, I don't mind saying it at this point. It's public knowledge. Hillary Crowder. And they can see Change My Mind. Crowder, He Changed My Mind. Hillary Crowder, oh, the ex-wife. Instant bestseller because of how many people hate Crowder. But not only that, she's getting $300,000. At least, month by month, $25,000 during the whole divorce process. I wonder where that money is going. Almost as if it's going to launch something. You're starting to get what's going on here. Look, I don't mind admitting that Steven Crowder has faults and issues. There is something just the other day that I was listening to him. He brought a guest on to talk about something, and I was like, "Dadgummit, Steven, I don't agree with you on this one. I have to agree with the guest." There have been times where he's done something that I think is distasteful. I think that when he and the team were making fun of the Down syndrome Barbie doll, I agree with the rest of the conservative field that, hey, no, this is actually a good thing because this is the left valuing a Down syndrome person as a human being. And I was like, Crowder, I disagree with that. But if we're looking on a case-by-case study, the stuff with Jared just really falls flat. It really falls empty, especially when you take into consideration everything else that's going on. When you look at everything that's happening here, when you look at where the money is, who's paying for everything, it paints Crowder in a much better picture than I expected. I expected when stuff started getting released and whatnot that I was going to feel a little pinch of shame for supporting Crowder. I don't as much. I think the Dave Landau stuff is worse. I think that the Dave Landau stuff has a much bigger chance of being true based off of simply the evidence provided. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people need to consider when they're coming towards Crowder to try to make some kind of accusation against him. There is nobody in the industry, and as a matter of fact, nobody I know that is both a strong media personality and good at showing a paper trail. He and his team were able to hunt down this paper trail excellently to where they could show without a question, without a shadow of a doubt, that it is at minimum suspicious that Jared is releasing this when he did, especially considering the communications that he's had with Hillary Crowder. It looks bad. It looks really bad for Jared and Hillary. I am fully understanding that when said book is released, if it gets released, because, there's a chance that there could be some liable lawsuits coming down the line, that we're going to learn some things about Crowder that are not great. Whoop-de-freaking-do. It's a divorce. I've hated the entire time that this whole divorce stuff has been made public because nobody looks good in a divorce. Unless the abuse is 100% set in stone, hey, he's abusing me. Unless it is 100% certain, without a shadow of a doubt, that the man is abusing the woman, nobody comes out looking like the good guy. It's just a mess. Even if there is somebody who's the good guy, it never looks that way because divorce is messy. I've never thought this should be public, but now that it is, I'm siding with Crowder a lot more than I thought I would. And I hate to say it, but I think in this case, the woman is the one in the wrong. And it seems like she's driving a lot of what Jared is doing. I think what Tim the Tool Man said is true, that Jared is simply a pawn in this whole scheme. I think he is just a small sacrificial piece of the puzzle in order to get to the bigger story. And it seems like it all comes back to the divorce, which should never have been made public anyways. So yeah, that's where I stand on it. That's what we know so far. If you want to look at it, you can either watch the video on Crowder's channel. I encourage you to watch Jared's as well and compare the two, just like we did with Crowder and Jeremy's responses back and forth when the Daily Wire stuff was going down. Compare, look at all of the information, not just the side that you think you agree with. Look at all the information, put it all side by side. But once again, the Crowder team gives us a lot more information to go off of. Sorry, but it's just the way it is. So let me know if you have any thoughts or if you have any questions, and I'll answer what I can.